Welcome everyone to the Carolina Outdoors. Each week we come in to break down 4 different segments for your listening pleasure. Come on in, the listening is fine. Hi, I'm Bill Barty. Don Yeager is on assignment. We'll talk a little bit about that later on because I don't know if you knew this or not, but turkey season is in full effect. So there are Carolina turkey hunters from far and wide who are out in the woods even during this quarantine, even during this pandemic, enjoying a little bit of what the outdoors has to offer. Also, fly fishing is in full effect as well. We want to talk a little bit later about being safe as you pursue the outdoor sports that you are, and we are well aware of what both governors in both Carolina states have announced in recent weeks, but people are still practicing physical distancing, and they are getting into our Carolina outdoors. It's also a wonderful time for different things that families may be undertaking, and we're going to bring on our friend, the general manager from Jesse Brown's. He's going to be on the program right now with a little bit of, I guess, project-oriented things that we had seen done. And Wes, it's a different time now as we talk about the different things to do in the outdoors. Usually this time of year, we're preparing for scouting trips with our family, or maybe vacations and spring breaks. All of that is off the table. But at Jesse Brown's, you and your son kind of had a craft project of sorts, but it had a lot of throwback to relating with outdoors, with campfires, with starting up an efficient fire.
Yeah.
Will you talk to us about what you and Ben had going on?
Yeah, we filmed a video out behind the store here a couple of weeks ago. He helped do the producing, and he's about to turn 10, so I let him be the cameraman for part of that time. We were supposed to go on a scouting campout, and it got canceled. And one of the activities we were going to do with the Webelos in particular was kind of revisiting safely building fires. So what we did, and you can watch the video, is built a better fire starter. This time of year, with this current situation with the coronavirus, kids need activities and parents need them too, but kids are going to look back 10, 12, a lifetime from now and say, during that time, there's all this scary stuff going on, but we still did this. I remember, in this case for Ben, coming to work with my dad and building this project. And you can build this at home. So building a fire in the backyard is wonderful. It's a great time of year to have a cookout or roast marshmallows, but we still get rain, so sometimes the fire doesn't start very well, and we all become frustrated pyromaniacs. Get the lighter fluid out, use a whole bunch of paper, things that aren't really all that good for us or the surrounding environment. So what you're going to do is take an egg carton, empty egg carton. It can be plastic or recycled plastic. It could be cardboard, whatever it is.
You realize this is kind of like doing a cooking show on the radio.
On the radio.
But start with the egg carton.
Yep.
The carton.
Empty egg carton. You're going to take some dryer lint. Everybody's got it. Take the dryer lint, separate that dryer lint, and fill up some of those empty egg carton slots. So dryer lint's very flammable, but it's not going to help start your fire. And then I want you to take an unscented candle, not a birthday candle, not a potpourri candle, but a pretty good size unscented candle. I want to do this outside. Light the candle, turn it on in so the flame is helping to melt that candle faster, and let it drip and saturate each one of those little lint balls. It's going to take a little while. You're going to be here for probably a full candle to get 4, 5, or 6 of these things going. But it's going to saturate really well. Let it cool, which is going to take longer than you expect, maybe 10 minutes. Try to pry those almost completed fire enhancers out, flip them over, and do it again. So you have your egg crate, you put some dryer lint in there, light your candle, let the wax drip in. It's going to look like a waxy ball of goo, which is basically what it is. But that's going to burn once you light it. So it's not a fire starter. You need to have a lighter or matches to get that going. That's going to burn unencumbered for 12 to 20 minutes. One of those can do a great job of keeping your fire going. So you put that in with some kindling, maybe some other small twigs. Don't use leaves, please. Don't use paper. You could use more of these if you wanted to, and it's going to burn and keep the flame going to help nurse that fire to life. The project itself could take you 10 to 15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. If you're doing it with young ones, have them help gather those materials. Have them separate these. So those little egg cups are about halfway to 3/4 full of the lint. The more the merrier. That's really your fuel, and the wax is just helping to kind of measure out the length of the flame.
So I'm writing this down, and if you're just joining us, this is the Carolina Outdoors. I'm Bill Barty, sitting here with Wes Lawson from Jesse Brown's, and the three things that we have are an egg carton, whether it holds 12 eggs, 18 eggs, it doesn't matter. But you've got that styrofoam egg carton. You have dryer lint. That you put in each little egg segment, or however many of these, not fire starters, but fire enhancers that you're going to make. And then you take an unscented candle and melt and drip the wax on top of the lint that you have.
Yep.
That's it.
And all that wax is going to soak in there because it's falling in as liquid. It's going to absorb into the lint, and eventually as more melted wax gets on there, it hardens and it turns into a semi-solid substance. So when you put it in your fire, you can light it. You can light this in your hand and then put it in there, and you're good to go for quite a while. You don't need to use any paper. You don't need to use any lighter fluid. It just works.
So here we are in the springtime of the Carolinas. It's perfect if you were gonna start a campfire, say, in the spring. But this sounds like it's something great for the cooler months.
Yep.
When you are up in your home in the fireplace, and you just crumpled up 100 newspapers. Do people still get newspapers? Anyway, you know what I mean. This will help that fire start even in a fireplace.
Oh, absolutely. You could use it in a fireplace, in a wood stove. You could certainly put some in a backpack and go camping. If you're going to take them, if you're going to travel with them, put them in a bag of some sort just to be on the safe side so you don't have things suddenly melting. But they're safe. They're not going to off gas. They're not going to suddenly combust. It's just like having an inert candle close by. Use it now while we're all socially distanced and we're having cookouts and doing marshmallows in the backyard. Use it on a camp out when we're allowed to do that again. And certainly in those cooler months at home, use it in your fireplace. It's not a problem. It's going to go away.
You've got a Carolina outdoor tip for yourselves right there from Wes Lawson. And Wes, I'm going to circle back because in this time of stress, and there's no doubt that it's stressful to a lot of people. Maybe you have loved ones who are maybe sick, or maybe you're trying to prevent loved ones from participating in the pandemic, but you know that that the scary germ is out there. It has changed the way we are acting as a society because stores, restaurants, your business, all of that stuff is closed. And if it's not, you're worried about your customers whose businesses may be closed, or they may not have a job, furloughed, laid off, waiting for people to be well and it to be safe again. All of that is going on. But our children, like your son who was participating in this project, you said it, when you look back at this time in our lives or in our society, what will you remember? Will you remember that fear, that scariness that was out there? Or, and I think you said it, will you remember the time that you spent with your dad helping start a fire? Or maybe your parents were reading a book to you that they did not in years or previous times because they were late coming home from work, or they had this or that going on. So it's kind of making a memory. Now it's a productive product but that you're creating with this craft, but it's also helping make memories with loved ones that they'll carry forth no matter what happens in the unknown world. That's important, and that's a part of what the Carolina Outdoors has to offer, even if you're doing this craft out on your deck or in the back parking lot. Of course, being safe in all forms and facets. So thank you for sharing that. You can go to the Jesse Brown's YouTube channel too, because you and your son participating in that project. So we encourage all of our Carolina Outdoor listeners to go over to YouTube, type in Jesse Brown's. You'll see the great big red pileated woodpecker. Click on it and search out that video. Wes Lawson, thanks for joining us on this segment of the Carolina Outdoors.
Thanks for having me. We'll see y'all soon.